government and the ruling DMK in the state. Taking it one step forward, the state government dropped the official rupee symbol from the Tamil letter and replaced it with the Tamil letter Ru from the state budget papers. The state budget is going to be presented for 2025-2026 and Chief Minister of the state, MK Stalin, shared a teaser for that state budget. He did so on social media. He added the hashtag Dravidian model on it. So far, there has been no response formally from the state government on why they felt the need for this particular swap. But the DMK has been saying that for them, Tamil comes first. Now, legally speaking, this logo change is on paper. It's only on the state budget documents. So it's just a symbolic gesture and not really unconstitutional is what many experts say. But questions arise over the kind of tone that the DMK is taking, the sub-nationalist tenor that the DMK seems to be treading on. Have they taken it too far this time around? That's what many are asking, including the BJP. Has the state government, in its fight of protecting linguistic identity, treaded too close to comfort? Before we get into that and get the answers to that from our panelists on Plain Speak, let's give you some context. Now, this move by the DMK government is ironic because the rupee symbol was adopted by the UPA government. It's not something that has come to the fore now. Remember, this happened in 2010 when the DMK and the Congress were both in alliance. DMK was a part of the central government when the rupee symbol was adopted. The man who designed the symbol, Uday Kumar, is a Tamilian. He, in fact, is the son of a former DMK MLA. Uday Kumar was born near Tiruvannamalai and raised in the capital city of Chennai. He is born and bred Tamilian, and yet there seems to be a problem over a symbol that was designed by him. Kumar won the contest to design the symbol back in 2010. He was among 4 other contestants that were being considered. DMK and its leaders now seem to be on a warpath with the central government. The BJP is asking, though, how far the Dravidian party is willing to take this fight. It was one thing to blacken railway boards, quite another to take off a national symbol. Because as far as the central government is concerned, the rupee symbol is not just something that we see on our currency notes, but it's also a national importance. It's a national symbol, as is stated on the government website. What will the government of the DMK of the Tamil Nadu change next is the question the BJP has been asking. The currency symbol is a national identity. If that can be replaced, what will Stalin replace from here on? The national flag or the national bird? That's a question the BJP was asking. Will it be national anthem or the national emblem next? Will the DMK take objection to this as well? That's a question that the DMK so far has not come out and answered, because all they have said is that for us, we do not want Devanagari or the Hindi script on this one particular document, which is why we've made the change. Now, Tamil Nadu's opposition to the Hindi language isn't new. Like I've been saying, at least in the recent past, in the last few weeks, this has dominated political discourse. But as far as a political movement against Hindi is concerned, that has been on since the 1960s. Over the last few months, this debate has been taking new twists and turns because MK Stalin has now decided that he is going to be leading this war against the central government. It started as an opposition to the 3-language policy in the national education policy, which the state government and the chief minister has outrightly denied to implement. It soon snowballed into a full-blown language war. We then saw signboards across railway stations in the state that were smeared with black ink. DMK functionaries, DMK supporters were all involved in this. Now, whatever may be your sentiment, but vandalism is not allowed as per the law. It is a crime. Was it punished? We don't know just yet. Stalin even accused the language Hindi of swallowing other languages across North India, triggered another big debate. The protests even reached the national capital. We saw DMK members of parliament cornering the government both inside and outside the parliament. They said that the NEP only wants to impose Hindi via a back door. And if that was not all, today, what the BJP says is the last nail in the coffin, to say the very least. Replacing the rupee symbol, they're playing with national interest and with national sentiment. Of course, that's a charge that the DMK outrightly denies, but the political war of words continues. So we here on Plain Speak want to ask, is this mere symbolism by the DMK government, or is this an attack on the idea of India?
The BJP tries to trivialize the entire issue by just saying, see who is studying the third language. They are not taking it willingly. They have joined the CBSE board. There is no option except to study the third language.
I believe today what the DMK has done, trying to replace the Indian rupee symbol, is the last straw on the camel's back, on the language war. They've taken it too far, and probably they have entered into a zone from which there is no coming back.
These two parties have divided trying to divide the country in the name of South and North, in the name of Hindi and other language. I think this is nothing but diversionary politics, diversionary tactics of both the Kerala government and also the DMK government.
Let's open this up. Narayan Tirupati, Vice President of Tamil Nadu BJP, is with us. Pudha Rao, political analyst. Syed Asad Abbas, also a political analyst, with us. And Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, join us on this panel. But Pudha Rao, let me ask you this. Now, the DMK has been saying that for us, Tamils first, which is why we've decided to change this on this one piece of document. But does it look like the DMK government in Tamil Nadu is going to stop at just that, or are we going to be seeing a spree of changes?
See, as long as I imagine, I'm not authorized to speak for anyone but for myself. I imagine as long as the law is not violated, anybody can do anything in this country. It may displease me, probably it does displease me to see disharmony anywhere, but still it is not a violative of the law. It is not a symbol of mention in the constitution. It is under the RBI Act that the rupee is guided or owned by the Reserve Bank of India. Therefore, yes, it does look surprising as looks as something is taken away. If you want to read it that way, it is bad. If you want to take it casually, be mature and then find out what's going to happen next, what one should do, the central government, particularly to bring down the temperature. I would like the temperature to be brought down whenever there is a disharmony. There's no point in saying, I am right, you can't do this. They will do it. If it just doesn't mean that what I believe in, my friends should believe in. How to tackle it? It's the central government.
But who increased the temperature as far as this particular instance is concerned? Because this change, the budget hasn't even been presented. There was just a teaser that MK Stalin put out on social media, and that change was very visible. Just last year, as we are showing for our viewers also, just last year the rupee symbol stayed there. But now the DMK says that we have objection to the Devanagari script because there is an attempt to impose Hindi. So why is it that we're suddenly seeing this kind of sentiment being whipped up by the DMK?
I would imagine it's a continuation of what they're doing, raising their demands for various things connected with the Tamil language and the new education policy. And I would also imagine that there was an occasion a few days ago in Parliament to bring down the temperature. It didn't happen. Instead of that, you said this, you did like that, you take it or leave it, that kind of thing went and naturally there is a reply. Now my friends, Mr. Tirupati and others may not agree. Unfortunately, it takes two hands to clap and make a noise. And I would still say, there's no point in saying they're right, they're wrong, they can't do it. They will do it. There's no law against it. There's no law against it. If they want to do it, they'll do it. And therefore, it should be, as I stress again, in the national interest, in the country's interest, between the federal government, central government rather, and the state government. There should be good relations, and who should take the first step in this situation? I think definitely I would find nothing wrong when the central government says, let's discuss the NEP. It's not a question of riding a high horse. A minister is there only because of the constitution. If the minister goes, nobody will care for him, or a chief minister for that matter.
Sure, therefore, but it seems like it has gone way past the NEP, isn't it? But sure, but Narayan Tirupati, it's the centre's adamance as far as the national education policy goes is what the DMK says, which is why we're seeing these string of events take place, and this is just one of those. Legally speaking, they're not in the wrong, so why create a hullabaloo over it is the DMK's allegation.
See, it is not a question of adamancy. The adamancy is from the DMK, the Tamil Nadu government, because more than 50% of the Tamil students are studying 3 or more languages in Tamil Nadu, and in many schools owned by the DMK first family itself. They teach 3 languages or more in their school itself. So that is why we say, why you discriminate the poor government school students? But what happened today is just laughable, immature, and it's very silly. In fact, as per my president's words, the stupidity to the core. It is definitely unwanted, uncalled for, unnecessary tweet what Mr. Stalin had tweeted. See, you can't, try to divide this nation like this. And this is really laughable. Why this childish behavior? Because you have been exposed. The DMK has been exposed in the last 2 weeks. They wanted to promote a two-language formula, which the BJP exposed it very clearly. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan exposed it, how they actually wanted to sign the MOU and then they backtracked. This we exposed, and we also came out with the proofs that these people are teaching three languages in their schools, and how discriminative they are with the government school students, poor government school students. So now Mr. Stalin wants to hype up this delimitation. That also failed, and suddenly he now comes with a different tone. This is because they want to hide the failure of the DMK government, the deteriorating law and order, and the crimes against women and women children, and the falling economy of Tamil Nadu, and last the raid, the search by the Enforcement Directorate in Tasmak. This is the highest thing. So they want to hide everything from the people of Tamil Nadu. So they are trying to instigate the people of Tamil Nadu by all the by instigating the sentiments of people by language, by now he has started yesterday. He has started saying about saffronism. So by language, by religion, somehow calling for states' rights. Somehow Mr. Stalin wants the people to forget about their sins they have done in the last 4 years. That is why they are doing this. We are ready to take on them. How we expose them in the three language policy, we will expose them again, because this rupee was designed by their own person, DMK's MLA son, and it was well appreciated and well taken by Mr. Karnataka. He had felicitated that person, and it was done during DMK, which was a part of Congress rule. What is this?
And it
Is
was a
this,
part of budget documents until last year. It's changed only now. But Silas, for the past, as far as other Dravidian parties are concerned in the state, or even the Congress is concerned, all of this, like Mr. Narayan Tirupati was also pointing out, the symbol came into being when the Congress was in power, when the DMK was with the Congress in the UPA at the centre. So is there more to this move than just try and send a message to the people of Tamil Nadu or to the centre?
Poonamji, you're absolutely right on the fact that, yes, this did come in during the Congress government. It was the United Progressive Alliance when this happened. No doubt about it. The fact of the matter, let us understand that even Adarniya Pradhan Mantri Modi ji, Narendra Modi ji, when he was in Tamil Nadu, he spoke of the great, rich Tamil tradition, culture, language, heritage, so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, I also remember him narrating words of Thiruvalluvar's Thirukural, Selvathul Selvam Sevichalam, Achalam Salvatulalam Talai, which are great words. There are no doubts about it. Tirupati ji also, hand on heart, will agree with me that Tamil undoubtedly is one of the most ancient and rich language and cultures in the world. There are no two ways about it. So we have consequently seen it, be it the DMK government ruling, even in the times of Jayalalitha, they've taken that importance of the language beyond Hindi or any other language. This has been sacrosanct for several decades, I would say, even during the time of great Dravidian leaders like Periyar. But the fact of the matter is, where I agree to disagree with my dear senior friend Tirupati ji is, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. Let us understand that even the central government needs to take a lot more initiatives. We as an Indian democracy, we are a federal structure. The state and the union central government needs to come together for a solution. If DMK is only going to stick with its viewpoint and the Bharatiya Janata Party, let me go back to what Dharmendra Pradhan ji also said. No doubt, even he praised the great Tamil culture. But let us understand, according to the SSA funding, several crore rupees has not come to Tamil Nadu. Why? So
Why?
yes, the reason is out there because non-implementation of the national education policy. As per national education policy, two native languages and one, of course, English language has come through, which Tamil Nadu vehemently, time and again, has not been able to do under any government, so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, I humbly plead to Tirupati Garu, that kindly take a step ahead. I think the union government, Dharmendra Pradhan ji, needs to come together. Amit Shah ji also, Narendra Modi ji also has spoken greatly of Tamil culture. So therefore, there has to be a dialogue, there has to be a communication.
Sure, but it
Otherwise, in
doesn't
which
look
front?
like either sides are open to that communication, because even the state government has gone on to say that we will not implement this period. This despite the NEP not mandating Hindi as a third language, and yet the state government says that we will not implement a three-language policy, even though several other southern states have implemented that. But before I get in, Shekhar Iyer, a quick rebuttal, Narayan Tirupati. This all started because the education minister went out and said that your funds will be withheld until you implement NEP.
Yes.
No, see, they're totally
Several
wrong.
crores.
Samagra Siksha is a system, it's a scheme where funds was given, allotted for a specific reason. Computer labs and the computer appointment of computer teachers. The state government had got these funds from the central government, but they have not established any labs, or they have not appointed any computer teachers. In fact, 60,000 teachers, computer teachers, BEd, people are striking. This is happening for a very, very long time.
But that's not what Dharmendra Pradhan, the education minister, said.
Wait. See, they are confusing Samagra Siksha and the PMC scheme. I have to tell you that PMC, as far as PMC is concerned, PMC, they have said that we will enter into a MOU very shortly. That's what. They have requested money for. See, when you write that and you ask for money also, it means that you are committing yourself. And then suddenly you take a U-turn and say, we will not do it. So, as far as Samagra Siksha is concerned, it is meant for a specific purpose. And the same thing, PMC is also meant for a specific purpose, 14,500 schools. And you know very well that it is for pan-India, 14,500 schools. For Tamil Nadu alone, you cannot have a different strategy or a scheme, and for other states. This is it. And number two, my dear friend was saying, before in 1960s or 70s, there were no schools in Tamil Nadu teaching three languages. But now, after DMK came in 1967 and after DMK's rule in 2009, there are 1,635 schools in Tamil Nadu, CBSE schools, for which the NOC was given by DMK. We have to understand this. And the Tamil Nadu is the third highest, next only to Delhi and Haryana. So, these people, they teach Hindi and other languages in Tamil Nadu, which they own. And they will discriminate the poor government school students. This is what your policy is, not for Tamil Nadu. Your policy
so it's about
is
which side of
back
the aisle you
government
speak
school
to,
students.
and that's where the narrative changes. But Shekhar Iyer, as far as this entire controversy is concerned, and I don't mean by just this one particular rupee symbol changing today, but this entire language war debate that has been going on for at least the last 2 weeks or so, do you think this is all keeping in mind elections next year? We're less than a year away from when the state is going to be seeing elections.
Absolutely, Poonam. You can see the strategy because the elections are just a year away, and they feel that this is a very good emotive issue, and this is a time-tested tool of the DMK. See, right from 67 onwards, whenever they have been in kind of a soup, as they are now because of, Enforcement Directorate raids, corruption charges, and man on the street feeling the pressure of corruption. Even to buy a packet of liquor from the TASMA, the government-run shops, they have to pay extra money. This is the kind of corruption everybody is facing, and you can see the strategy. You see, the whole idea is that they have to play both the card. They must show to the people, to their voters, that they are prepared to offend the center, at the same time play the victim card. So you will constantly see this victim card coming out, then effort in like this to show that they can even offend the center. In fact, they want the center to, come out with some kind of an outrage so that they can say, look, we are playing this card. Well, this is a game that is going on, but the whole big question is, see, none of the allies, the national allies or the opposition allies of the DMK in the India alliance, they will be willing to be party to this. Number one. Number two, the big question is, can an issue like this or even delimitation, which is nothing has happened on it. First, you must have a census after 2026. Then there should be a delimitation commission. But Stalin has already, upped the ante, and the big question is, can this be sustained next 12 months? So how to go about it? So you will see these actions like this, which doesn't mean anything, because in Tamil media, in Tamil newspapers, in the Rupee is written in this form only, not in the other form. So this is a very common thing. I mean, this is no big deal there. But this is a way you can show to the national media and to the central government, look, I can offend you. And I want you to get offended and do something so that I will get sympathy. See, that's the thing. But I don't think the center is going to fall into this trap. But definitely, I don't know whether Stalin realizes DMK is facing lack of public support from in other states. And also growingly, there is a feeling that DMK is deliberately indulging in a game which is alienating the state and its people from the rest of the country. Because that is not the mood in Tamil Nadu today. There are more and more people learning Hindi, more and more people who feel that learning a language, of course, it's another argument that people don't study another language in the north. See, that should not be a problem of the people of Tamil Nadu, no? I mean, this is the first time in the policy, it doesn't insist on Hindi, whereas the 68 policy,
Exactly.
which
So
Congress
back then when the DMK and other Dravidian parties had an issue with the three-language policy or with the national education policy, there was a reason to it. But now there is no merit to it because nowhere in the policy document does it say that the third language or the second language should be Hindi. It just says that one needs to be English and the other two need to be Indian native languages, could be any that you want to pick. But Shekhar Iyer, as far as this change of the rupee symbol is concerned, the DMK says it's only the Devanagari script that we've done away with and it's just one document. What's the big deal? But do you think this also treads somewhere on sub-nationalism? That's something that they're risking or playing with?
Well, the attempt is because the DMK is also guided by the parent organization Dravidar Kazhagam, DK, which strongly believes in Tamil nationalism. But then Tamil nationalism, died with the collapse of the Tamil Tiger movement in Sri Lanka. But now and then efforts are made, somehow to whip it up, to show that that Tamil Nadu is different from the rest of the country. Tamil culture is different. Even the worship of Shiva in Tamil Nadu is different from the worship of Shiva in the north. See, all the time searching for an identity. Well, there is a Tamil identity, no doubt. But there is also the richness of Tamil culture and Tamil language. But here the attempt is politics. Because without this, I think there are so many anti-incumbency issues which is bothering the Tamil Nadu first family, I mean the DMK family, Stalin and his son, because he has to, the whole idea is to, after this 2026 election, it will be Udayanidhi who will become Deputy Chief Minister if the DMK wins. And let's not forget, the name Karunanidhi, Udayanidhi, these are all Sanskrit words. These are not original Tamil words. Dayanidhi means a complete treasure of, compassion. So, I mean, you say, and Stalin has an English name. Is he going to change his name? I mean, this whole thing is getting little, I think,
Pull it out. Is this all
crazy.
getting out of hand? Is this, like I said, many would say it reeks of sub-nationalism. You're trying to create this entire separate identity. You're wanting to alienate the people of the state. It perhaps serves political ends of what the DMK wants to say, but is it really the right thing to do?
I don't know whether this is going to fetch electoral gain for DMK, but definitely I always wonder why Tamil Nadu BJP rushes into such issues that is not necessary. Having said that, you see, now the central minister who started all this controversy, he has boxed himself into a corner. He can't step back. He can't now say, let's have a discussion. Let us see if there's some common ground. He can't do that. It is now.
No, you have not heard. You have not heard what he said. He said time is there till 31st March. They have not come. What is this? Mr. Pularao, you are a senior person. You can't hide the facts.
No, you can speak when your turn comes. What's the point of shouting here? You're a senior.
No, I'm not
person.
shouting. I'm just requesting you.
Okay, you can say it after I finish. Why spoil my train of thought? You say it. I'm happy to listen. See, the main thing is this has become political. You have to solve political riddles. You can't go on like this. You can't take these mock stances on nationalism. It doesn't pay. Central government must be very flexible, very, very, ready to talk it over, ready to take everybody along. Not as Mr. Iyer said, they shouldn't fall into the trap. He has rightly pointed out that they shouldn't widen this chasm. Where will it lead? It's already used in the Tamil language, that is rupee symbol, and perhaps he has made his point. Mr. Stalin, and he has brought the
But will he
differences to
stop
the fore.
at that? That's the question that many are asking his political rivals and, of course, the people of Tamil Nadu as well. And we'll find out sooner than later, because every single day we are seeing the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu take a stance that is in complete contradiction to the central government. And he's doing that for a reason. He seems to be on a war path that leads to the electoral battle next year. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time. I have to thank you all for joining us here on this edition, so we have to leave it there and slip into a very quick break on this edition of Plain Speak. But on the other side, we'll get you details of the Pandora's box that Ranya Rao's arrest seems to have opened. That deep investigation has laid bare the entire gold smuggling racket, and we'll tell you exactly how she managed to get in 14 kilograms of gold from Dubai to Bengaluru before she was caught.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we started the day in one place. Things kind of went sideways in a number of directions, and we ended up back at the same place that we were yesterday. And so everything is on the table. But when we're talking about sort of non-tariff retaliation, it could be about restricting supply. It could be putting our own export duties on products. It could be energy and minerals. It could be broader than that. But certainly, you know, the strategic nature, particularly of critical minerals, makes it one of the more obvious targets, because the alternative for the United States to actually get it is from China. There's a certain amount that you can ship by rail, but by and large, you couldn't displace the 4 million barrels that we send to the United States in pipelines. But I would say it works on the other side of the bucket too. So the refineries in the Midwest and in the Gulf Coast are set up to use heavy crude. The United States doesn't produce much heavy crude. It's mainly light sweet crude. And so in order to displace Canadian crude from those refineries, you would basically have to retrofit them all, which would be tens of billions of dollars and probably 5 to 10 years of work. So I actually think the oil that's coming down here is pretty sticky, in the sense that I don't think it's displaceable. And so in that regard, I don't think the threat to Canada's producers in the oil sector is as significant as perhaps in other sectors. It's absolutely on the list, you know, of things that we could do, because you're right. Ethanol is coming into Canada. It is actually cheaper than Canadian options right now, in large measure because the Inflation Reduction Act actually provides some significant subsidies for biofuels in general.
Donald Trump has defended his use of tariffs and dismissed concerns about market volatility sparked by the global trade turmoil. Speaking to a gathering of business leaders in Washington on Tuesday, the US president said his trade policy was already showing results.
We have car companies that are not building in Mexico now. They're building in the United States. Some of them, the plants were already started and they stopped construction. And now they're going to build in the United States. It was very unfair that they'd build in Mexico and sell them across the border with no tax, no nothing.
In the audience were around 100 CEOs, and some of them may be feeling growing unease. They've all seen some $4 trillion wiped off the value of US stocks in recent weeks, amid fears over the impact of the trade war. Businesses have also been concerned by the volatility of the tariffs, which have been variously imposed and delayed, raised and lowered. On Tuesday there was more of that, with turmoil over duties on Canadian metals. Early in the day, Trump said he would double levies to 50%. He was responding to a move by the Canadian province of Ontario to impose its own tariffs on electricity supplied to America. Hours later, Ontario dropped the move, and Trump said US duties would stick at 25%. The fresh day of turmoil drove another down day for stocks, outweighing glimmers of hope over a Ukraine ceasefire. More big firms, including retailer Kohl's, also warned that the darkening economic outlook was hitting sales. In the end, the Dow Jones Index closed the day down another 1%. But if that worries Trump, it didn't show on Tuesday.
The tariffs are having a tremendously positive impact. They will have, and they are having.
Trump said his tariffs would generate a lot of money for the US and could be raised even higher in the days ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we started the day in one place. Things kind of went sideways in a number of directions, and we ended up back at the same place that we were yesterday. And so everything is on the table. But when we're talking about sort of non-tariff retaliation, it could be about restricting supply. It could be putting our own export duties on products. It could be energy and minerals. It could be broader than that. But certainly, you know, the strategic nature, particularly of critical minerals, makes it one of the more obvious targets, because the alternative for the United States to actually get it is from China. There's a certain amount that you can ship by rail, but by and large, you couldn't displace the 4 million barrels that we send to the United States in pipelines. But I would say it works on the other side of the bucket too. So the refineries in the Midwest and in the Gulf Coast are set up to use heavy crude. The United States doesn't produce much heavy crude. It's mainly light sweet crude. And so in order to displace Canadian crude from those refineries, you would basically have to retrofit them all, which would be tens of billions of dollars and probably 5 to 10 years of work. So I actually think the oil that's coming down here is pretty sticky, in the sense that I don't think it's displaceable. And so in that regard, I don't think the threat to Canada's producers in the oil sector is as significant as perhaps in other sectors. It's absolutely on the list, you know, of things that we could do, because you're right. Ethanol is coming into Canada. It is actually cheaper than Canadian options right now, in large measure because the Inflation Reduction Act actually provides some significant subsidies for biofuels in general.
Donald Trump has defended his use of tariffs and dismissed concerns about market volatility sparked by the global trade turmoil. Speaking to a gathering of business leaders in Washington on Tuesday, the US president said his trade policy was already showing results.
We have car companies that are not building in Mexico now. They're building in the United States. Some of them, the plants were already started and they stopped construction.
Welcome back. The Karnataka gold smuggling investigation is getting murkier by the day. What started as a gold seizure at the Kempegowda airport has now opened a can of worms. From the Revenue Department to central agencies like the Enforcement Directorate, no stone is being left unturned to uncover the larger nexus, because it's hard to believe that just one person was involved, which is Ranya Rao, to carry so much gold, as much as she did, about 14 kilograms, on her body and travel from Dubai to India. The Enforcement Directorate today conducted raids across a dozen locations in connection with their investigation as well. But what was interesting was a statement of Ranya Rao, which detailed exactly how she got the gold, who gave it to her, and then how she brought it back from Dubai to Bengaluru. This is what the Revenue Department told us here on CNN News 18. This is how the entire story panned out. Ranya had claimed that she got a call from an unknown number, a foreign number, on the 1st of March, asking her to be at a specific gate in Dubai, Gate A of Terminal 3 of the International Airport, and she was to collect the gold bar there and then deliver it in Bengaluru. She also claimed that she was receiving such calls for the last 2 weeks prior to when she had to deliver those particular gold bars. Ranya said she doesn't know exactly who this caller was, but he had an African-American accent, who told her that he would come in a white gown near the gate. Ranya claims that the caller told her that after she clears the security check, he will hand over the gold bars which have to be delivered. The actor confessed that she learned to conceal gold bars on her person from YouTube videos. She purchased tapes near the airport is what she said. She also used scissors to cut the tapes to a certain size, keep it in her bag beforehand, as she would not be able to carry scissors into the airport. The actor said that an unknown caller directed her to leave the gold bars in an auto rickshaw at the Bengaluru airport. But this was after she was supposed to clear security. Someone was supposed to help her clear security at Bengaluru airport, but that of course went bust. Upon arrival and search at the Bengaluru airport, Ranya admitted to concealing these gold bars and also told the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence that she had not only travelled to Dubai but to Europe, to other parts of the Middle East, the United States and Africa as well. Now, the extent of the racket is yet to be unearthed, but several investigations are probing this, and there are several key players in it. Ranya, of course, was the one key player. She was one step away from clearing the security at the Bengaluru airport when custom officials intercepted her and recovered those gold bars. The Kannada actress is believed to be a part of a larger racket that's been operating through the Kempegowda airport over the last few months. Her associate, Tarun Raju, is the second arrest that was made. He belongs to a prominent hotelier family in Bengaluru. He is believed to have knowledge of Ranya's smuggling activities. Was he a crucial part of laundering that as well? That's something that's being investigated. An internal Karnataka police report submitted to the Home Department outlines the events surrounding actor Ranya Rao's smuggling case. The report includes a statement from Constable Basavaraju, whom Ranya contacted before she boarded this particular flight in Dubai. She allegedly pressured him into escorting her upon arrival in Bengaluru, but he informed that he was on duty elsewhere and couldn't do so. Now remember, Ranya Rao is the daughter or the stepdaughter of a DGP rank officer in Karnataka, Ramachandra Rao. His role is also under the scanner, even though the Karnataka CID has now withdrawn the case over these protocol breaches because another agency is already investigating it. His role will be looked at, especially now after Constable Basavaraju's statement to the Revenue Department. BJP has also alleged that there are some Congress leaders and ministers who may be involved, with many BJP leaders, including the state president in Karnataka, claiming that Ranya's arrest right after that, she called some Congress ministers for help. Now, as far as the DRI and its investigation is concerned, they are trying to unearth how exactly she brought this gold and on how many occasions prior to this one did she bring in gold and what was that worth and what happened to it. The ED is also investigating this gold smuggling link. Customs duty evasion trail as well is under probe. The CBI has also now stepped in. They are investigating the role of officials, bureaucrats who could have been helping her bypass these protocols, bypass these security norms at the airports. They will be investigated as well. And the Revenue Department, of course, which is the nodal agency that is looking into this entire case, is looking at Hawala transactions, at money laundering and Ranya Rao's possible link to illegal financial networks as well. So now that we have this entire trail outlined, is there a larger national security threat that needs to be spoken of as well? Because if one person can conceal so much gold on their person, travel from an international airport to Bengaluru, it could have been anything else that the person was transporting. Is that something that we need to be wary of? That's what we open up to our guests on Plain Speak.
First order which was issued is entrusting this inquiry by naming the DG officer and asking for an inquiry. The second order was a general order to CID for the protocol violations. Since the first inquiry covers this also, there is no question of two inquiries.
इंटरनेशनल डेस्टिनेशन से ट्रैवल कर रहे तो संबंध किसके साथ है, किस मंत्री के साथ है, इसे आ रहे हैं ना, और चेक क्यों नहीं किया?
Let's open this up. Sanjay Sahai, former ADGP of Karnataka, is with us, and BL Vora, former IG CISF, is with us as well. I want to get in BL Vora first, but because I want to talk about how it is that at two different airports, one in Dubai and one in Bengaluru, she managed to conceal 14 kilograms of gold strapped on your person, when one can't even get away with a few coins in their pocket or a keychain in their pocket.
As you said, Poonam, yourself, at the Dubai airport, the white collar told him that he will hand over the gold bars to him after the security check. So, if that be so, then after the security check means that that fellow has some connections there, whosoever the criminal is. And so he handed over, so there was nobody to check her throughout the flight. The other thing was coming at the Bengaluru airport, where she was perhaps earlier also using the help of the protocol, CISF. Basically, it is there through some police cops or some bureaucrats. And there, when she did not get the help, as per your own story, when she rang up a constable who told her that he was on leave and can't help. So that is how she was caught. Oh, that is why this whole trail is there. And let me also tell you, her statements should always be taken with a pinch of salt, like the story of any accused for that matter. Any accused will give stories. These have to be verified, each one of them, and they will be verified. Number two, this is not the first time that she has done it. She would have been doing it for long. Number three, these gold smuggling and other smuggling like this always take place through networks. No individuals can do it. And it has been going on for ages. It will still go on. There will be many groups even now today who would be doing it. So here she has been caught. I think she had the confidence that at Bangalore airport she'll be able to go past the security, but her luck did not favor her, and that's why she was caught this time. So in a way, it is very good, but it's definitely nexus. Of course, it will have all the related issues which are being looked into, whether it is money laundering or not, who else is involved, the role of officials, all the things that you have said. Now, the possibility of politicians, I don't know, from either side, that also cannot be ruled out. See, these things, they always can be done only with the help of lot of people who are involved. So I think that is why all this has happened. I'm sure the CBI, the DRI, everyone will reach to the bottom of this. This is just the beginning of a revolution. Let's see, I'm sure much more will come out and skeletons will be out from a cupboard. Poonam.
Absolutely, and there are going to be so many other people that she may have been involved with, because this doesn't look like an operation that one person or two people can come out and ensure. But Sanjay Sahai, there's also the role of police officers here that is being discussed. Like she herself told the DRI that she called a constable, which obviously she's done from a position that she's a stepdaughter of a DGP rank officer in the state. So she thought she could misuse her stepfather's office to make these kind of claims. But why are we seeing none of these individuals under any investigation so far? We've had this particular constable that has recorded his statement, but that's about that.
See, what has happened is that the compromise of protocol services, as we have been talking about for the last 10 days, that has certainly happened, and that should come to light as to what is the nature of compromise of the protocol services. With regards to protocol services getting compromised, it has wider connotation, which means that there is an insider threat to the security mechanism of an international airport. With regards to the people you are talking about, Basuraj, so Basuraj and whosoever other people are involved, who are a part of the, basically there should be a part where their involvement and their complexity also needs to be seen. So there is already an inquiry committee, which is being inquiry committee or a one-member inquiry commission, which is being headed by Gaurav Gupta. And he is there to look into what the protocol services are compromised and whether or not there is involvement of the stepfather of this particular actress. So that is where we stand. But as far as DRI is concerned, DRI is the prime nodal investigative agency, and it is well within its rights to question anybody, interrogate anybody, and gather evidence, and concurrently guide the state government or whosoever is the disciplinary authority to take action, and take action on its own as well. It is on DRI's instance that CBI also came into this investigation, and CBI is providing all other support which is required. And today we see that Enforcement Directorate also is a part of it. So which means we are getting into money laundering, we are also getting into Hawala transaction, we are also accepting the fact that it is a part of a bigger syndicate, and whatever confession or whatever statement Ranya Rao has given to DRI, so that primarily deals with whatever happened at Dubai International Airport. Certainly it has to be taken with a pinch of salt, and the nature of precision with which he carried 14.8 lakhs, 14.8 kgs of gold. Certainly it is in no way acceptable that it was happening for the first time. There are two instances earlier also, one on November 13 and another on December 20, 2024, where her stated destination has been Geneva and she has come to Bangalore. So all these things don't add up. And somebody making some foreign number, making a call to you, and you reaching without verifying anything, you have somebody to fall back upon. That is your stepfather to whom you can communicate. None of these things have happened.
Right, so obviously there was some sort of robust mechanism that she thought she had at the backing that she thought she had, which is why she was okay doing all of this. But she claims that she was being blackmailed, that she thought she had no way out. BL Vora, that kind of stance, is that, does that argument hold any water? Is that convincing enough?
Ms. Poonam, anything is possible. She may be right, she may not be right. But talking about that constable, that security clearance at the Bangalore airport, let me tell you, I've been a DGP myself also for many years. My experience tells me, and I was in CISF as well, as you know that. See, if protocol through a senior officer like DGP rank or even IG rank, even DIG rank, if it is to be used, I don't think they will go to a constable then. They will speak to the commandant of the CISF at least. They'll speak to senior people. So maybe the constables also at that level, they may be bribing, those people may be part of the syndicate, one doesn't know really. I'm not absolving the DGP, her stepfather, but on this basis alone, if you ask me, I think the possibility is very less that somebody very senior would have been involved. Because why a DGP rank officer will talk to a constable to get the security clearance? So I think even the CISF at lower levels also, I think they should also be thoroughly probed. Maybe those guys are involved themselves directly into the money making. Poonam.
Right. So there are several people that are involved in this entire case. But Sanjay Sahai, as far as the gold smuggling racket goes, and in this particular instance, right now we've had only two people under arrest, which is the actress herself and another associate of hers who is also believed to have some sort of connections to this entire case. But what about the investigation on Dubai's side? Is that something that the Indian government, the Karnataka police or the DRI will also have to look at? Because she claims that she bypassed security there when somebody else handed her the gold, which also means that somebody had an in there as well, isn't it?
See, I don't know what is the nature of collaboration the federal agencies are having with Dubai police. I have been telling over and over again in any number of on any number of TV channels that getting the gold or carrying the gold through the security, that is the DFMD is there, besides lots of other technical resources deployed at Dubai International Airport, seems to be very far-fetched, seems to be next to impossible. If it has happened, then it has happened because of connivance. But as the story comes now, which is again to be taken with a pinch of salt rather than a bucket of salt, is post the security clearance, the whole thing has been handed over to us. And after the whole thing being handed over to her, she had made the preparations beforehand of carrying the tape and of that side, and then use the washroom to put the whole 14.8 kgs or 14.2 kgs on herself. So the Dubai part is still remains very, very unclear. What is the nature of collaboration happening between DRI and the Dubai police? We are not aware of. We are also not aware of the fact as to what is the collaboration happening through Interpol on variety of these areas. And there is also something known as the Financial Action Task Force, of which large number of countries are signatories. So there is no doubt about the fact that international collaboration is required, and what is the nature of complicity at that end, that also needs to be known. So certainly there is something. See, again, I will repeat the same thing again, that at the entry point, from where you embark on this international journey, the checks are much more stringent. So it is their concern that nothing moves out which is illegal, and it cannot only be gold. It can be variety of other things which can be used for hijacking, which can be drug trade, which can be a variety of things. So no government, no international airport is ready to take this risk. But having compromised that, how it has happened, that is very necessary. And it will also help us to understand as to how many times it has happened. And whether this modus operandi has been a very successful modus operandi or it has been one-off affair. For me, one-off affair does not seem to be a very logical sort of a conclusion. It is only a gut feeling or whatever acumen I have generated myself, created in myself over the years. Broadly, it is quite a well-oiled machine, and gold smuggling, terror financing, and variety of things happen hand in hand.
Right, which is why we're now seeing multiple agencies also look at that. But like I was talking about right at the start, and BL Vora, I want to get you in on that. The DRI in court yesterday, when they were opposing her bail and putting out her statement on their side of the investigation, also said that this is not just a matter of gold smuggling, but it's a matter of national security as well. That also does bring the focus on certain protocols at airports. Is that something that also needs to be looked at? The kind of power that some people wield, is that something that also needs to be looked at, perhaps reviewed, in your opinion?
Definitely. See, point is, today you are smuggling gold, tomorrow you can smuggle weapons. You can smuggle explosives. I mean, there's so many things which are very, very dangerous, and these can be used for doing violence anywhere. So definitely it's a matter of national security. So as the investigation proceeds, they will know more. See, there are many places in the country where the smuggling routes are used not only for gold. The Manipur is in news. Let's talk of More in Manipur, where I was DGP and Home Secretary also. See, there also, the route is not only for stones, ruby stones, they are very famous from that place. But a lot of drugs come from there, a lot of weapons come from there, a lot of explosives come from there. So, national security is definitely an angle which has to be looked into. And with Dubai police, I think government would have already asked for cooperation. Maybe they already have some informal or formal understanding. Otherwise, of course, Interpol is there. All those channels are open to them. But definitely it's a matter of national security. As I said, it can be anything else. It may have been something else, may have been brought in the past also. One never knows. And why use Bangalore airport all the time? Maybe this racket, these guys are using other airports also. Only this has come to light at the moment. So all the angles will have to be seen, and I'm sure they are being looked into. Poonam.
Right, so all of these angles will be investigated. The central government perhaps will also be looking at, once this entire report is out, of multiple agencies if there is any need to make any particular changes. But Sanjay Sahai, as far as why Bengaluru, that's something that BL Vora was also speaking. Are there certain airports, are there certain cities that seem to be a little more vulnerable than the rest? Could that be a reason?
Why Bengaluru? Because Bangalore is the apple of the eye. And see, Bangalore is already on the world map with regards to IT. So that's point number one. Point number two, with regards to gold smuggling, which is primarily you see Cochin, you see Trivandrum, and you see Bangalore. So they are a part of that particular circuit. And if you get into the Cochin International Airport, I think on a regular basis, there are lots of people who get caught doing gold smuggling. There, wherever they find that there is any capabilities of using the insider for making their proceeds happen in a smooth and seamless manner, they certainly get into that. Even otherwise, besides Delhi and Mumbai airports, Bangalore is the third busiest airport in the country and third most important airport in the country. Now, insider threat can compromise national security infrastructure. What is an airport? Airport is a national security infrastructure. And if a national security infrastructure is compromised, there are a variety of things which can be done. Even compromising a national security infrastructure through a cyber attack, that itself can bring the whole air traffic, to a standstill.
Absolutely. So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. So that it's not just about one particular actress smuggling in this one particular instance, but there is a larger context and a larger investigation that needs to be done as well. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time, but I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on Plain Speak. It is a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Co-powered by Top.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we started the day in one place. Things kind of went sideways in a number of directions, and we ended up back at the same place that we were yesterday. And so everything is on the table. But when we're talking about sort of non-tariff retaliation, it could be about restricting supply. It could be putting our own export duties on products. It could be energy and minerals. It could be broader than that. But certainly, you know, the strategic nature, particularly of critical minerals, makes it one of the more obvious targets, because the alternative for the United States to actually get it is from China. There's a certain amount that you can ship by rail, but by and large, you couldn't displace the 4 million barrels that we send to the United States in pipelines. But I would say it works on the other side of the bucket too. So the refineries in the Midwest and in the Gulf Coast are set up to use heavy crude. The United States doesn't produce much heavy crude. It's mainly light sweet crude. And so in order to displace Canadian crude from those refineries, you would basically have to retrofit them all, which would be tens of billions of dollars and probably 5 to 10 years of work. So I actually think the oil that's coming down here is pretty sticky, in the sense that I don't think it's displaceable. And so in that regard, I don't think the threat to Canada's producers in the oil sector is as significant as perhaps in other sectors. It's absolutely on the list, of things that we could do, because you're right. Ethanol is coming into Canada. It is actually cheaper than Canadian options right now, in large measure because the Inflation Reduction Act actually provides some significant subsidies for biofuels in general.
Donald Trump has defended his use of tariffs and dismissed concerns about market volatility sparked by the global trade turmoil. Speaking to a gathering of business leaders in Washington on Tuesday, the US president said his trade policy was already showing results.
We have car companies that are not building in Mexico now. They're building in the United States. Some of them, the plants were already started and they stopped construction, and now they're going to build in the United States. It was very unfair. They'd build in Mexico and sell them across the border with no tax, no nothing.
In the audience were around 100 CEOs, and some of them may be feeling growing unease. They've all seen some $4 trillion wiped off the value of US stocks in recent weeks, amid fears over the impact of the trade war. Businesses have also been concerned by the volatility of the tariffs, which have been variously imposed and delayed, raised and lowered. On Tuesday there was more of that, with turmoil over duties on Canadian metals. Early in the day, Trump said he would double levies to 50%. He was responding to a move by the Canadian province of Ontario to impose its own tariffs on electricity supplied to America. Hours later, Ontario dropped the move, and Trump said US duties would stick at 25%. The fresh day of turmoil drove another down day for stocks, outweighing glimmers of hope over a Ukraine ceasefire. More big firms, including retailer Kohl's, also warned that the darkening economic outlook was hitting sales. In the end, the Dow Jones Index closed the day down another 1%. But if that worries Trump, it didn't show on Tuesday.
The tariffs are having a tremendously positive impact. They will have, and they are having.
Trump said his tariffs would generate a lot of money for the US and could be raised even higher in the days ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we started the day in one place. Things kind of went sideways in a number of directions, and we ended up back at the same place that we were yesterday. And so everything is on the table. But when we're talking about sort of non-tariff retaliation, it could be about restricting supply. It could be putting our own export duties on products. It could be energy and minerals. It could be broader than that. But certainly, the strategic nature, particularly of critical minerals, makes it one of the more obvious targets, because the alternative for the United States to actually get it is from China. There's a certain amount that you can ship by rail, but by and large, you couldn't displace the 4 million barrels that we send to the United States in pipelines. But I would say it works on the other side of the bucket too. So the refineries in the Midwest and in the Gulf Coast are set up to use heavy crude. The United States doesn't produce much heavy crude. It's mainly light sweet crude. And so in order to displace Canadian crude from those refineries, you would basically have to retrofit them all, which would be tens of billions of dollars and probably 5 to 10 years of work. So I actually think the oil that's coming down here is pretty sticky in the sense that I don't think it's displaceable. And so in that regard, I don't think the threat to Canada's producers in the oil sector is as significant as perhaps in other sectors. It's absolutely on the list, of things that we could do, because you're right.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. On this episode of The Right Stand, we get you a series of exclusive news breaks. First up is the one shared with us by Manoj Kumar Gupta, Group Editor at Investigation and Security Affairs, that unearths and exposes the China Park cyber fraud trap. This entire scam that is